Dolphin Cognition and Behavior, an exploration of intelligence and social dynamics. Dolphins, renowned for their intelligence and complex social structures, offer a unique lens into the evolution of cognition in non-human animals. This dolphin tape explores various facets of dolphin cognition, including self-awareness, problem-solving, and communication, alongside their intricate behavioral patterns such as social learning, cooperation, and cultural transmission. By synthesizing current research, this review highlights the remarkable cognitive abilities of dolphins and the sophisticated behavioral strategies that underpin their success in diverse marine environments. 1. Introduction. Dolphins, family Delphinidae, particularly species like the bottlenose dolphin, Tursiops truncatus, exhibit behaviors that strongly suggest advanced cognitive capabilities. Their large, complex brains, coupled with a highly social lifestyle, have led scientists to investigate the depths of their intelligence. This dolphin tape sets the stage for exploring how dolphins perceive their world, interact with each other, and adapt to challenges. 2. Cognitive abilities, self-awareness. One of the most compelling indicators of higher cognition is self-awareness. Studies using the mirror self-recognition test have shown that dolphins can recognize themselves in a mirror. This ability, shared with only a few other species, suggests a sophisticated level of self-perception and potentially a sense of individuality. Problem-solving. Dolphins display impressive problem-solving skills, both individually and cooperatively. They can adapt their hunting strategies, learn complex tasks, and understand novel situations. This adaptability is crucial for survival in their dynamic ocean environment. Memory. Research indicates that dolphins possess long-term memory capabilities. They can remember calls of specific individuals for decades, suggesting a robust social memory. This is vital for maintaining long-lasting social bonds within their complex communities. Communication. Dolphin communication is multifaceted, involving a range of whistles, clicks, and body language. These vocalizations are not just random sounds, they are structured and can convey information about identity, emotional state, and environmental features. Some studies suggest a potential for referential communication, where specific sounds refer to particular objects or situations. 3. Behavioral patterns, social structure. Dolphins live in fission-fusion societies, meaning their group composition changes frequently. These societies are characterized by stable, long-term bonds, often within male alliances or maternal lineages. Such dynamic social structures require advanced cognitive abilities to manage relationships and navigate group interactions. Cooperation. Cooperative behaviors are common among dolphins, particularly in hunting. They use sophisticated techniques like herding fish into a tight ball or creating mud nets to trap prey, showcasing coordinated efforts and an understanding of shared goals. Social learning and culture. Dolphins learn from each other, passing down foraging techniques and behaviors across generations. A famous example is sponging in Australian bottlenose dolphins, where individuals wear sponges on their rostrums to protect themselves while foraging on the seabed. This behavior is learned socially and has been observed to be passed down maternally, suggesting a form of cultural transmission. Play behavior. Play is a significant aspect of dolphin life, contributing to social bonding, skill development, and possibly stress reduction. They engage in playful interactions with objects, other dolphins, and even other species, highlighting their inquisitive and complex nature. 4. Conclusion. The cumulative evidence strongly supports the view of dolphins as highly intelligent and sentient beings with intricate cognitive abilities and sophisticated behavioral repertoires. Their capacity for self-recognition, complex communication, social learning, and cooperation positions them among the most cognitively advanced animals. Continued research into these magnificent creatures not only deepens our understanding of marine life, but also provides valuable insights into the evolution of intelligence itself. Self-awareness. Okay, let's dive into the fascinating world of self-awareness in dolphins. It's one of the coolest indicators of their high intelligence, and it's something that really sets them apart from most other animals. What is self-awareness? First off, when we talk about self-awareness, we're generally referring to an animal's ability to recognize itself as an individual, distinct from others and its environment. It implies a sense of I, or me. For humans, this develops over time, and for animals, it's often tested in specific ways. The mirror self-recognition test. The most widely accepted and classic method for testing self-awareness in animals is the mirror self-recognition (MSR) test, sometimes called the mark test. Here's how it generally works and how it applies to dolphins. 1. The setup. An animal is exposed to a mirror. Initially, many animals will treat their reflection as another individual of their species. They might try to communicate with it, challenge it, or investigate it as if it were a stranger. 2. The test. Once the animal is accustomed to the mirror, a temporary, odorless, and non-tactile mark is placed on a part of its body that the animal cannot see directly without the aid of the mirror, e.g. on its forehead or belly. 3. The key behavior. If the animal then looks in the mirror and touches, investigates, or attempts to remove the mark from its own body, rather than touching the reflection on the mirror, it suggests that the animal understands the reflection is itself, and not another creature. It recognizes that the mark is on its body. Dolphins and the MSR test. Dolphins have indeed passed the MSR test, putting them in an elite group of animals that also includes great apes, chimpanzees, orangutans, gorillas, bonobos, elephants, and magpies. Here's how it typically played out with dolphins. Initial reaction. When first introduced to mirrors, dolphins would often approach their reflections with curiosity, sometimes even displaying social behaviors as if interacting with another dolphin. Marking. Researchers would place a temporary mark, like a non-toxic paint or marker, on a dolphin's body, usually in an area like the throat or fin, where it couldn't be seen without the mirror. Self-directed behaviors. Upon seeing the mark in the mirror, the dolphins would demonstrate highly specific, self-directed behaviors. They would often orient their bodies to get a better look at the mark in the mirror, twisting and turning to examine it from different angles. Repeatedly inspect the marked area in the mirror. Attempt to rub off the mark using objects in their environment, or by swimming against the tank walls, specifically targeting the marked area. This behavior strongly indicates that the dolphins understood, that's me in the mirror, and that mark is on my body. Beyond the mirror, other evidence. While the MSR test is the gold standard, other aspects of dolphin behavior also hint at self-awareness and a sense of individuality. Individual signature whistles. Each dolphin develops a unique signature whistle that acts like a name. They use these whistles to identify themselves and call to specific individuals. The development and consistent use of these unique identifiers suggest a strong sense of individual identity within their social groups. Complex social interactions. Dolphins navigate extremely intricate social structures, forming alliances, engaging in reciprocal behaviors, and even displaying empathy. Managing these complex relationships likely requires an understanding of self versus others, and the ability to track individual identities and roles within the group. Tool use and social learning. Behaviors like sponging, where some dolphins in Australia use sponges to protect their rostrums while foraging, are learned and passed down socially. For an animal to learn from another and then apply that knowledge to itself, there's an underlying recognition of self in relation to the actions of others. Why is this significant? The presence of self-awareness in dolphins has profound implications. Cognitive evolution. It provides insights into the convergent evolution of complex cognitive abilities in species with very different evolutionary paths from humans. Emotional depth. Self-awareness is often linked to the capacity for more complex emotions, empathy, and even theory of mind, the ability to understand that others have their own thoughts and feelings. Problem-solving in dolphins. Dolphins are super clever when it comes to problem-solving, and they show it in a bunch of different situations, from hunting to navigating their environment. Here are some cool examples. Cooperative hunting strategies. This is one of the most famous examples. Dolphins often work together to catch fish, which requires complex coordination and strategic thinking. Mud ring feeding. In some areas, dolphins will create a circular wall of mud by rapidly beating their tails on the seabed. This mud ring traps schools of fish, making them easy targets for the waiting dolphins. This isn't just a random act. It requires precise timing, communication, and an understanding of hydrodynamics to be effective. Herding fish. They'll often coordinate to herd schools of fish into tight bait balls or against a barrier like a sandbank or a boat. This makes it easier for each dolphin to take turns swimming through the dense school for a meal. Escaping from entanglements. Dolphins can sometimes get tangled in fishing nets or other debris. There are anecdotal accounts and some observational studies where dolphins have been seen actively working to free themselves or even helping others become disentangled. This often involves precise movements and understanding of how the entanglement works. Navigating complex environments. Dolphins use their echolocation, sonar, to create incredibly detailed mental maps of their surroundings. When faced with new obstacles, changing underwater topography, or unusual objects, they can adapt their echolocation strategies and swimming paths to navigate safely and efficiently. Learning and adapting to human interaction. Dolphins, both in the wild and in managed care, can learn complex sequences of behaviors and solve novel problems presented by humans. This includes understanding abstract concepts, following multi-step commands, and even using symbols to communicate requests. Their ability to quickly grasp new tasks and problem-solve in human-designed scenarios highlights their cognitive flexibility. Solving acoustic problems. When communicating or hunting in noisy environments, like areas with a lot of boat traffic, dolphins can adjust their vocalizations, changing the frequency, amplitude, or duration of their clicks and whistles to ensure their messages get through or their echolocation remains effective. This adaptive response to environmental challenges is a form of problem solving. These examples really show how dolphins aren't just reacting instinctively, they're actively thinking, planning, and adapting to overcome challenges in their environment. Long-term memory in dolphins. Dolphins have some impressive long-term memory skills. It's super important for their complex social lives and navigating their environment. Here are a couple of cool examples that show how their long-term memory works. Remembering signature whistles over decades. This is probably the most compelling evidence. Dolphins each develop a unique signature whistle that acts like their name. Researchers have conducted studies where they played recordings of signature whistles of dolphins that had been separated for many, many years, sometimes even over 20 years. The dolphins would reliably recognize and react to the whistles of their former tankmates or group members, even after all that time. This is a clear sign that they retain individual identities and relationships in their memory for a very long time, which is crucial for their fission-fusion societies, where individuals might separate and reunite frequently. Recalling complex learned tasks. Dolphins in managed care are often trained to perform a variety of complex behaviors and sequences. They can remember these intricate routines even after long periods of not performing them, or after being introduced to new environments or trainers. For example, a dolphin might have learned a specific trick or series of actions years ago and can still execute it with precision when prompted, demonstrating a strong procedural memory. Remembering specific locations and migration routes. In the wild, dolphins often have vast home ranges or migratory routes. They can remember the locations of important feeding grounds, safe havens, or breeding areas that they may only visit seasonally or after many months. This navigational memory is critical for their survival and reproductive success. Social bonds and recognition. Beyond just signature whistles, dolphins maintain long-term social relationships. Male alliances, for instance, can last for many years, sometimes even decades. This requires remembering which individuals are allies, who they've had conflicts with, and the social hierarchies within their groups. They don't just remember that someone exists, but the nature of their relationship over time. These examples really underscore how vital long-term memory is for dolphins, allowing them to maintain intricate social networks and thrive in dynamic marine environments. Thank you for listening to this Dolphin Tape 001 on dolphin cognition and behavior. You may read more at www.speakdolphin.com or contact me at speakdolphin@mac.com. Let's keep learning together. Jack Casawicz.